Hallo und schön, dass du den Camperman-Podcast wieder eingeschaltet hast. Kennst du unseren neuen Newsletter eigentlich schon? Nein? Ja, kein Wunder. Den haben wir gerade erst gestartet, nämlich am ersten Advent und im Dezember jede Woche. Also jeden Advent gibt es einen neuen Newsletter mit tollen exklusiven Gewinnspielen, die du nur über den Newsletter bekommst. Also, geh auf camperman.de, trag dort deine E-Mail-Adresse ein und schon bist du dabei. Mehr musst du gar nicht machen. Und wir wünschen viel Glück, denn es gibt ganz, ganz tolle Preise. Und zwar Powerstations von Bluetti, ein E-Bike und eine Lautsprecher-Kühlbox. Also, frohe Weihnachten und jetzt viel Spaß bei der Show.
Hey, this is Milow and you're listening to Camperman.
Hallihallo, hier sind die Campermen. Ihr habt also das richtige Programm eingeschaltet. Ja, auch im Winter sind wir hier für euch da, denn warum soll man nur von O bis O, also von Ostern bis Oktober campen? Nee, wir campen das ganze Jahr durch. Und wir haben uns mal überlegt, dass wir in den letzten 6 Jahren an so vielen Stellen schon waren und mit so vielen spannenden Menschen gesprochen haben. Das wäre doch schade, wenn man das vergisst. Und wir haben tatsächlich so viele ganz bekannte Persönlichkeiten am Mikrofon gehabt und die möchten wir gerne mal wieder aus dem Archiv kramen und euch hier in den nächsten Wochen vorstellen, diese Gespräche nochmal ans Ohr bringen. Unser heutiger Gast ist Jonathan Ivo Gilles Vandenbroek oder besser bekannt als Milow. In Antwerpen geboren ist der belgische Singer-Songwriter international eine feste Größe im Popzirkus. Mit butterweicher Stimme singt er tolle Lieder und hat damit einen riesen Erfolg. Er bespielt alle großen Bühnen und hat gerade ein neues Album rausgebracht. Das heißt Boy Made Out of Stars. Und darüber hat Milow mit Nadine gesprochen. Aber nicht nur darüber, sondern auch, wie die Natur ihm dabei hilft, wirklich kreativ zu bleiben, wo es hingeht, wenn er mal ein bisschen für sich sein will und warum er so gerne darüber singt. Und tatsächlich hören wir ihm wirklich gerne zu. Er redet einfach so schön. Er singt noch viel schöner und ihr könnt ihm jetzt einfach mal ein bisschen lauschen. Wir wünschen euch ganz viel Spaß.
Ihr hört Camperman. Der Podcast zum Einsteigen und Aussteigen. Mit Henning und Gerd.
We have a musical guest again today, and I met him a few weeks ago when he told me that he's actually a passionate camper, so we had to meet again and talk about it. Hello, Milow. How are you?
Hey, thank you for inviting me.
How are you?
I'm good. A month ago when I was here in Hamburg talking to you, it was snowing. I remember that I went for a run that day and I had to dodge the ice and the snow, but I still really loved it. But now it's like a completely different climate. Today it's 17 degrees, so I just went for a long walk along the Reeperbahn. Nice to be outside. I just played 5 concerts in 6 days. As you can hear, my voice is a little bit under the weather, but that's part of it. And I'm really looking forward to performing tonight here.
Yeah, I mentioned that you're a passionate camper.
Yes.
You have a new album out, which is called Boy Made Out of Stars, and you made a video for every song. Yeah. And the last song, Mama Aya, was filmed in a campground in Malibu, which you described as one of your happiest, or one of your happy places.
Yes.
Tell me about that campground, please. Why is it your happy place?
So this is, Malibu is a very vast kind of area. It's much bigger than you would think. There's not a lot of people that live in Malibu, but most of it, there's canyons and hills and a lot of forests. And it just has a few beautiful campgrounds. And when you say campground, it's very important to emphasize how different a California campground is compared to European campgrounds. Because, as in it's just what I love about California campgrounds, or in general in the US, it's just a wide open space. Very generous sized lots, so people can decide how many tents they put on there, or some people just sleep in their car. And it just feels very pure still. So it's not like there's not much else there, so you can really enjoy being there. And there's a lot of space. I mean, this is, of course, there's so much space in California, so you won't even be super close to other campers. And so I grew up being the second of 4 kids, and because money was often a little tight, we never really could go very far for vacation. So most of my childhood, we always got in the car and then went camping So I spent most of my birthdays, because my birthday's in July, most of my birthdays on campgrounds. In Spain, in France. Once in a while we got crazy and went to Italy, something like this, but, and then it kind of stopped. So I remember still doing backpacking and camping, early 20s, when I was a student. Also, it's a budget thing too, but something that's a good thing. If you have a budget, then you get more creative. And then I think between, let's say 25 and let's say 5 years ago, I didn't do so much camping. I mean, in a way, on tour is like camping. I don't know if you've seen a tour bus from the inside. It's like tiny bunk beds. There's definitely a camp feeling because we're basically brushing our teeth sometimes by the side of the road, or, we take a shower in the venue. It's very similar to like standing in line for a shower in a campground.
True.
But last couple of years, and I have to say, actually, right before COVID, I completely fell in love with camping again in California. And it had to do because my kids were young and we already travel in the summer between Belgium and LA. And I was like, let's keep it simple for, middle of the year kind of trips. And so kind of, got back into camping, and I just realized, and my girlfriend, actually, she didn't grow up camping like me because she was an only child. So it was kind of different for her. But seeing it through her eyes, she completely kind of fell in love with the idea and the simplicity. Waking up after not so great night, but just taking your time in the morning, being outside, making some coffee, simple meals, all that. It's so nice. And and then I was a couple of months before COVID, I was like, okay, let's do a lot of campgrounds. It's a great way to explore the US and national parks just by camping. And then, COVID happened, but still, actually, camping got a big boost during COVID. A lot of people bought camper vans and stuff. I never went as far as, I had some friends who got, impulse decision. Let's get a van. I still kind of like just tent camping.
So you're tenting, you didn't buy.
I still, and it does mean in California, you have to be careful. Let's say between December and April to not get surprised by the weather, because it can still be very cold.
And the rest of the time you have to be careful about your food because of bears.
Yeah, the bear thing is that's kind of a natural thing there. You always will, put your trash in the car, at night. I know. I mean, it's definitely when the last time I went camping a couple of months ago, I was actually by myself in my tent. And, it was incredible hearing the coyotes all night. You're much more in the wild. And so this campground of the video of Mama Aya, that's Malibu Creek campground. It's not by the water. A lot of Malibu campgrounds are by the water. This isn't, but it's amazing. And at night, you're in the middle. You see the coyotes during the day too, but you definitely hear it all around you, and it's just an amazing feeling, And another time, a couple of months ago, when I get back from touring, I'm exhausted, and I often don't even sleep the night before I need to go to the airport because, I'm worried that I'm going to miss my flight. I have stuff to do. And so I usually crash on the plane. So I sleep most of it. But then once I actually went straight to a camp ground with a bunch of friends, and I discovered, that's actually a great way to fight your jet lag the first couple of days.
Is it?
Just because you need to see daylight. Your body needs to get used that you're in a different time zone. And with camping, you're outside every day. That's why you're tired at the end of the day just from being, the fresh air. But for me, it's a really nice way to clear my head, because I always need a reset. And sometimes it's hard if you're just falling into the normal life again. But after a really busy time, gives me kind of some space.
I was going to say, why did you sort of rediscover camping? I mean, I'm sure there's several reasons, having kids and what you said, not wanting to travel far, but I guess also because what you just said, it makes you reconnect to yourself.
Yeah. And the thing with the kids was important because I just remembered there's a very small moment in our lives where, you share a tent, with your kids sleeping together in a tent. And I just isn't that incredible? Kind of this brief moment, that we're all together. And you have to train your kids a little bit with the camping, but that went so well. Obviously, the first time with a young kid might be a rough night, but once they kind of know it, and it's also, as with everything, also with everything outdoors, if you have the right equipment and the right clothing, because you have to make sure that you're prepared for how cold it gets at night. But if you have this, then it's, it's so great. And yeah, I've done Idlewild. I don't know if you're familiar. Idlewild is an amazing place to camp. Malibu, I've done several. I actually did a road trip last year, driving all the way to Colorado from California, passing some national parks, and definitely had some time to camp as well. But like I said, that was April, so you can still be in the snow. And then I wouldn't recommend necessarily sleeping in a tent.
But that's the amazing thing. I mean, I've only done road trips in America in a car with hotels and stuff, but still we managed to get accommodation in the national parks often. And if you're, either in a van or in a tent, doesn't matter, but you're right in the park. Like you're much more in nature than...
Yeah, and I forget, one of my favorite campgrounds is in Joshua Tree. And this is actually... There's not even a cell phone reception there.
Yeah,
and it's
great.
So amazing. But the one thing when I was saying about the weather, so the camping, it's too cold in some of the months in the winter. And then spring is the perfect time, because actually the summer gets too hot then. Because then it's very tough to hide from the sunshine. If you're Joshua Tree, it gets, 45 degrees. But once then you just have to kind of aim for, May, June, and then September, October. And those are really... the perfect timings to go. And it's just very rare. I've never seen the equivalent in Europe of the wide open space, really being out in nature, really, even if it's busy, even if a campground is full, it's not remotely close to what I remember from my youth, like
numbered patches.
A packed kind of like a campground where it's almost like every tent is next to each other. It's so crazy. It's so noisy. This is really about connecting. And I'm thinking like I might even try more like kind of solo camp trips if I just need like a little reset, because you asked why. I just become more conscious maybe the last 5 years to, that there's moments in my schedule with high stress, and just the importance of trying to find a way to, fight that stress a little bit, just have a reset. And it's like I said, it's also sometimes better for my family if I'm gone for a while. And then I come back, that I'm not too hyped on like what I've been doing in work mode, And then there's just not as many things that give me such a clear, kind of like peace. Okay, being outside, and I can't wait to keep exploring. It really feels like a fresh start. And it's interesting how I took a long break, almost like almost 15 years where I didn't really go. But like I said, some part of what I like about being on tour is the complete lack of glamour and luxury that people would associate when they see you on stage. But it's really fun, like the feeling of being in the bus together, and waking up in the bus and everybody's kind of like had a bad night, but then kind of meeting each other by the coffee machine and slowly waking up. That reminds me of camping too. Like on camping, in the morning, just take a long time before, okay, let me first focus on coffee, and then so. Can
you imagine doing camping in Europe again, or do you think it's just too different?
No, I think I can. Now it's a practical thing because my camp gear is in LA. I think I can. I am now actually intrigued and fascinated by maybe exploring more of Scandinavia. And maybe that is a good way to try to do it. It's just, Belgium is like Germany. We always, growing up, go south, looking for, after, escaping the rain.
Yeah.
So we never really, went north. And now, I wouldn't mind like trying to put together like a road trip, and it's much more open space in Norway and in Sweden.
There's more space and less people.
Yeah, and so that's, I think that might be the equivalent of, for example, California and Utah.
Just cold.
It is cooler. I know. And the mosquitoes, and like there's different elements, but and maybe, I don't know, it could also kind of be an in-between thing first, like renting a camper or something. That's also a fun way maybe to go to New Zealand. So much to explore.
Yeah. I mentioned the track Mama Aya at the start, which is kind of also about reconnecting with yourself lyrically, because you went to a meditation retreat early last year. Why did you have to go there, and what did you rediscover?
I was in the middle of kind of this process of digging deeper. When I'm writing an album, I try to open some doors and some floodgates, like inside me. It sounds a little funny, but I just try to really, take my responsibility and not make it too pleasant or easy for myself. I really try to dig deeper, and then in a time where I'm kind of trying to create and kind of seeing what things rise to the surface, this opportunity came up, this invitation, some friends of mine of joining a meditation weekend. They had invited me many times, but I was always never worked with my schedule. This time I was like, you know what? Yes, let me just do it. I have no idea what it's going to be like. I have no expectations, but I also knew I'm working on new music, and who knows, maybe it gives me some insights. And it was interesting because it made me, I'm a pretty high energy person. And this was kind of really 3 days, come to a standstill, be alone with your thoughts, journaling and reflecting on, what, I don't know, spirituality, what that means, and kind of, and it was interesting for me just to be alone with my thoughts and kind of not just briefly, but actually kind of sit with it for a longer time. And so it was a very profound experience. It's funny, I remember going into that weekend feeling not so great about my voice, just my singing voice. I don't know, it's like, it goes back and forth. Like sometimes, like everyone, you're feeling good in your body or not. And I remember that I was a little bit like, do I like my voice? Like something like this, both like literally and like on a metaphorical way. And this was like a singing meditation. And the first night I was like, I don't know, I'm not gonna sing. Like singing is what I do. But then I actually kind of I don't know. I basically in that weekend I kind of discovered no. I mean, my voice it's a gift that I have, and it's a superpower. And so I walked away feeling much better again about singing, about my music, about why it is what I do. It's a way that I can bring or try to bring comfort, how I can communicate emotions with my voice. And it's funny because someone can hear this and say of course, didn't you know this? But you forget, it goes back and forth. And I was working on my album number 8, and you would think some things get easier. And it's true. Some parts of this get easier, but some of the insecurity that always comes to the surface when you're making something new and when you're wondering, can I ever write a great song again or something like this? That doesn't get easier. That stays as difficult as in the beginning. And so, yeah, this meditation weekend kind of helped to put me back on the track. I wasn't lost on the track, but my mojo was at a very low level, a little bit, my confidence. And for me, that's what Mama Aya's song is about for me, just knowing that there's things like this for moments where you need some guidance, some confidence, some reflection. It's nice for me to know and realize this, because I have trouble sometimes allowing myself to take breaks. Mm-hmm. It's fun. It's because I love what I do. I'm passionate. I really think I'm so lucky that I can do this. But sometimes I don't know how to stop. It becomes like a natural instinct to keep going and going, and to make the connection to the camper topic. When I discover things that I both really love, where I can actually get some of my energy in, but at the same time also get a breather, I'm trying to embrace these things more and more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the album is proof that you can't stop, because you didn't just make a music video for every song. You also made a fanzine or zine that's 120, 160 pages.
Yes, 160. Yeah.
You're now on tour with the record in Germany at the moment, doing a club tour. But I think there's more to come, right? Can you really tell us something?
Yes, because I think by the time this gets published, so on Monday the 31st, so. We're announcing a new tour, a second club run. This was the first, another 3.5 weeks in November, where we do Switzerland, Austria, and a lot more in Germany than this time. Also coming back to Hamburg, to the docks. I just walked by it, took a photo. The summer we're also going to play. There's already, I think, around 10 open air dates as well, which I'm looking forward to. I think there's probably going to be a little bit more. And then next year, I'm going to do a very long acoustic tour as well. So it's really nice for me to have these markers and things to look forward to. And when I said I have trouble sometimes allowing myself time off, it's much easier if I know in a couple of weeks I have a tour again. Then I can allow myself to take a little bit easier because I know this will help me, perform better if I'm well rested and stuff. So
having so much ahead in your schedule will allow you to do a lot of camping breaks.
Exactly. And so, and I'm glad it's, just like I said at the beginning, it was snowing, was very wintry 4 weeks ago. And now you feel spring is everywhere. And that also means to me, that, we can go more outside. And it's people are often surprised that this, when you think of LA, it's the second biggest city in the US. But most people that live in LA, they love it because of the open space and of being outdoors. So much is outdoor. You can do so much in nature. So everywhere where people live, you 20 minutes away from a hike in nature. And this is sometimes, in Belgium or here, everything is so full. Like so many people, so much traffic. There's almost no open space. In Germany, you guys are much luckier. You have some beautiful open spaces. But that's always something kind of like, wide open space.
Yeah. I will definitely put your campgrounds on my list, on my travel list. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you. I love
See you again in autumn.
Yes.
Thank you. Bye.
Camperman, auch online. Unter camperman.de.
So, das war die Sonderfolge, unser VIP-Extra, unser Interviewgast mit Promi-Faktor, den wir schon einmal bei Camperman zu Gast hatten. Und ich hoffe, es hat euch Spaß gemacht, mal reinzuhören, mal mitzureisen, wie ja diese Promis da draußen so mit ihrem Campinggefühl unterwegs sind. In den Shownotes zur aktuellen Folge haben wir natürlich auch noch ein paar Links hineingepackt, damit ihr nicht nur unseren Promi noch mal ein bisschen genauer kennenlernen könnt, sondern auch noch ein paar Informationen zu aktuellen Aktivitäten und vielleicht auch zu anderen Folgen unserer VIP-Sonderreihe. Solltet ihr irgendwas mit Zeitbezug gehört haben, ignoriert das einfach. Diese Folge ist schon ein paar Wochen alt. Und sollte in dem Interview irgendetwas mit Pandemien oder so besprochen worden sein, auch das bitte ganz schnell vergessen. Damit wollen wir nichts mehr zu tun haben. Aber trotzdem ist diese Folge so wertvoll für uns, dass wir sie gerne nochmal ins Schaufenster gestellt haben. Und ich hoffe, es hat euch genauso viel Spaß gemacht wie uns. Und ihr schaltet auch nächste Woche wieder ein, wenn wir in unserem VIP-Spezial den nächsten Promi am Mikrofon haben. Also, bis dahin, ganz liebe Grüße.
Das war Camperman. Seid auch nächstes Mal wieder dabei.